name is Kristen, and I'm happy to be here with you today. So I want to welcome each of you to the program coordinator's role. We have a couple different things that we want to establish today, but to begin with, our target today is to establish pride in your new role as a Teammates program coordinator. At Teammates, our mission is to positively impact the world by inspiring students to reach their full potential through mentoring. However, a mission statement is more than just a sentence. It's really the guiding force for your organization and for your coordinators. One of our core values is strength-based. So just by a show of hands, can you raise your hand if you are an arranger? Raise your hand if you have communication. Raise your hand if you have woo. Raise your hand if you have belief. All right, congratulations. You're halfway there to becoming a great coordinator. Trying to get this all, equilibrium here. So I have 3 targets for today. The first one is to help you feel pride in your role as a coordinator. Second, I want to equip you with some handouts and some resources that you can use in your next few months on the job as a program or a building coordinator. And lastly, I'm going to help lead you to some tools of resource, some people of resource, and then we'll have some time for some question and answers. On your table, you have blue sticky notes that just jot down your questions, jot down some ideas. Your regional coordinators are also somebody to ask these questions if we don't get to everything today. All right, a program coordinator is really considered the day-to-day operations manager of a chapter. What this means is your number one role is working with your matches. Your duties fall under, I would say, these 4 realms. So the first one is making matches. You make matches based on commonalities, shared interest, life experiences, not just a warm body with a warm body. And unfortunately, sometimes that happens, and we really want to avoid that in your home chapter. Second, a program coordinator will attend the local Teammates events. Third, updating CivicCorps is when we put names, phone numbers, contacts. You will have access to your mentees, your mentors, and your board members' contact info. So this should be done really almost every semester. It's nothing that can really wait till the end of a school year, as changes happen throughout an entire school year. And then the last part, the last duty, is supporting matches. Knowing the names and faces of all of your matches really goes a long way in building trust, but it also opens the door to great conversations. Part of doing the supporting your matches is doing a monthly mentor check-in. And what this means is you can ask all of your mentors 1 or 2 questions a month. This can be done via email, it can be a text, it can be a phone call. What this lets you see is what's going right in a match, but also where some challenges might lie. One thing to know about this, hint, hint, board members can help with these monthly mentor check-ins. That can absolutely be something where you just collaborate with those board members and say, all right, we're going to divide this up. We're going to create a calling tree. We're each going to call 2 people a month and just do a check-in with them, okay? So this is the meat and bones of this. If you will open up your red folder, we had a little discussion about what should we name this session. Should it be the red folder of magicness? Should it just be the red folder of resources? But we decided on build your own binder. I have seen program coordinators and building coordinators organize a million different ways. Some people use individual folders for different tasks. Some people use one big giant binder. That was my way. I've seen people use milk crates with hanging folders for their different events. You organize however you see fit. Everything that you see here is available in your folder right now. You have the most updated versions of some paper items that you will need, but also just some suggested items. The very first sheet on the left-hand side is called your PC monthly duties. This is what kind of a blanket statement for all program coordinators looks like for all of our chapters. Of course, your local community may be different. So don't take that as the last word, but these are where we begin our conversations with your building coordinators as well as the board who oversees you. Okay, I'm going to give you just a moment to look at the list of items that are in your folder. Oops, sorry, got a little hiccup there. The CivicCore database is available to you. The CivicCore database requires a username and a login, and you will be issued that from Program Services. If you are brand new, if you have just been hired this week, which we have a lot of people here in attendance who have just been hired this week, you may not have your CivicCore username yet, but that will become something that you utilize with your job a lot. You don't have to copy this down. You don't have to copy this down at all. All of these resources are located on the CivicCore tab called Resources. In addition to these items, there are some things that you'll utilize occasionally, like an out-of-school permission slip. If you go to the zoo, you use school transportation, you request a bus, you request a driver, and your mentees and mentors travel to the off campus to the zoo together. Something like that. Permission slips are on CivicCore. Other resources are on CivicCore. If you're brand new to this position, there are also 3 program coordinator training videos on CivicCore that are just from this school year, the 2023 last semester. Our training team created these. Most of all, in front of you is your greatest resource of all, and that is your regional coordinators. Does anybody have any questions about the list that you see or the contents of your folder? Okay, if you do, just go ahead and jot them down. We'll get to those. All right, a program coordinator really will be asked to do duties related to matching, entering CivicCore database, and working with the matches. In front of you, you will see the forms that are required for those duties. These forms are in your folder. So when I said that you have some matching to do based on commonalities, these are the forms that are required to make a match. When I see that you're doing some CivicCore things, well, it depends on what you're doing in CivicCore. Are you updating information? Did a child have a name change? Did a child have an address change? Did a child move schools? And instead of at Anderson Elementary, now they're at Beveridge Elementary. These are things that a program coordinator will be tasked with every year. Knowing the names, knowing addresses, making sure that the school location is correct. And like I said, these changes happen all during a school year. So it's not something that you can just do in May at the end of the school year. Match closure is also something that can happen at the end of a school year, at the end of a semester, or really any old random Tuesday. As a school counselor, some of you know that kids move in and out every day of the week. It's not just at the end of December or at the end of May. Take a look in your folder and see if you have any questions about any of these. These should all be located on the left-hand side of your folder, pretty much in the order that was listed. I did have a question. Somebody asked me earlier, where do mentors apply and where do mentees apply? That is a question that you might hear quite often. So, you're not alone in your role as a coordinator. We have lots of areas where you can get assistance. So the answer to my question, where do mentors apply and where do mentees apply, is right up here. On our teammates.org website, you will see that we have a number of links listed. The green link is the Do Good News. The Do Good News is created by Hannah Miller and the PR department, and it's really like an online magazine. There's exciting things in there, like what's happening in other chapters, what is going on with some mentees. There's a spotlight every year, but there's also games, activities, and videos that your mentors can use because, let's face it, we don't all need to reinvent the wheel. We can copy ideas from other chapters and be really successful in our home chapter. On the teammates.org website, you will see the Apply Here tab. Mentors apply online. And on the Teammates homepage, there is a yellow tab that says Apply Here. Mentors apply online. Mentees are nominated on paper. So in your folder, you will see a mentee nomination form. I highly suggest that you make copies of these and put these in your teachers' mailboxes the first day of school. Who knows what kind of kids are out there that could benefit from a teammate's mentor? So that mentee nomination form is how we get the names of the children. So mentees can be nominated by teachers and school staff. They can be nominated by their parents, or they can also self-nominate. And they'll say, hey, I want a mentee, I want a mentor. And so they can come in and they can fill out one of those papers about themselves. The next part, Civicor. There are several different tabs that you'll utilize quite often. That's the Mentee tab, that is the Volunteers tab. The Volunteers tab are your board members and your mentors. So yes, it is up to the program coordinator to know, hey, this is our current board, or that person just stepped down, I need to remove their name from our board list in Civicor. That is kind of an ongoing process. The resource tab is where you print out things like the permission forms, the information that you have in your folder. And then the reports tab is what you can run at the end of the semester. On the right-hand side of your folder, I think you should see some colored papers. That is your semester data handouts. Your semester data is required at the end of the fall semester and at the end of the spring semester. So there is a step-by-step guide. It is called the semester data. And then behind that should be your entire Civicor database guide. That's all the ins and outs. That's how to work the Civicor. Now, program coordinators and building coordinators will have access to Civicor. Board members do not gain access to Civicor. Any questions about these two items? And then, of course, you have an opportunity to have in-person or virtual training opportunities. I am on the training and match support team, so you can invite different people to your chapter for board trainings, PC trainings, mentor trainings. You can invite mentors to log in from their home for their virtual trainings known as Mentor Academies. Mentor Academies happen once a month throughout the school year, and these are just virtual opportunities, kind of like a webinar, that you can learn something about something of interest to mentors, something about what's going on with today's kids. In May, for example, I invited the Teammates Plus program staff to talk about our Teammates Scholarship Program and our college mentoring program, which is called Teammates Plus. That is for post-senior year. Any students who go to a 2-year campus or a 4-year campus can become a Teammates Plus mentee. And then your biggest resource of all really is your regional coordinator. These people should be invited to at least one board meeting per year. So please let them know the dates and locations of those meetings so that they can plan on attending. Your regional coordinator really is a wealth of resource, and they give you information about mentor recognition, a fundraiser, different kinds of chapter events that have gone well. I understand that sometimes we feel a big difference between our rural and our urban chapters. I understand. Although I work in the La Vista office, I live in Auburn, Nebraska, which is a town of 3,000 people. I understand how difficult it is to recruit mentors. I understand, what are we going to utilize to gain money for our chapter because we can't have the same old soup, supper, and taco feed over and over. I understand. So your regional coordinator really is the biggest resource that you can find in this task. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do right now is turn to your elbow partner and just reiterate one thing that you are looking forward to utilizing this year. One thing that you would like to implement, or one thing that you still have a question about. And then I'm going to open it up to some questions. So I'll give you about 2 minutes to turn to your elbow partner and share something that you've learned or something that you would like to implement this year. All right, about 30 seconds and we'll come back together. All right, I will bring us back together. I was not an elementary teacher, so I don't know how to do the 5, 4. Oh, I do know how to do that. All right, so to wrap things up, I just wonder if there's anybody who would like to share aloud something that you're looking forward to implementing once you get back to your home chapter. Any suggestions, any revelations that we've learned today? Okay, is there any questions that are still outstanding? Have I left anything unanswered? Yes. Yes. So the question that I'm hearing from you, this is for our people at home. I have referred to applying to be a mentor online, and the question in the audience is there a online parent application or parent permission form for the mentees? I'm going to have to defer to your regional coordinator. Was that in a flyer that was created just for Kansas? Hannah Miller. Hannah Miller. Okay, so there is in Civicor, there is a parent permission form that can be emailed home when you reach home. What if they can do it online? A parent permission form is online to become a mentee. You have to come up here.
Once you have access, if you don't, there are tabs at the top. There's a tab that's going to say public. And under that public tab, it's going to say mentee permission form something. You can copy the link, email it right to your parents. I highly encourage you to do that because it's going to eliminate you having to input student information. That is going to be a game changer, but we will teach you how to do that. And know, too, that this is step by step. By no means do you need to know all of this tomorrow. We are going to chunk this for you. We're going to go slow to go fast. So I know that list of forms felt so overwhelming. Anybody with me? Like that was a lot. But we are going to show you the ins and outs to how to make this easy. It's going to be fine, I promise. And Jill, we were having a conversation. So Jill has been doing this since January, and she said it's really not as bad as it feels. Right now, it feels so overwhelming, but we have you know that we are here for you. But thank you for asking that question because that's a vital piece.
So again, if you caught that for our virtual viewers, when you go to Civicor, you're going to see several tabs: the mentees, the volunteers tab, the resources tab, which you'll utilize almost every week on the job. But there's also a public tab, and you can cut and you can copy that parent permission form for your mentees' parents. Did that answer your question, Kansas? Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. All right. Yes, if you don't utilize some of these online and fillable forms, you will have to enter manually. No. You would only send that parent permission form to the mentees who have been nominated, not your entire 5th grade class. All right, yes. Is the mentee nomination form available in Spanish? And we do have Spanish forms on Civicor. I am not sure if the mentee nomination form is. I can look after this session when I get into my Civicor. Yes, there are some Spanish version forms, not nearly all of them that we need, but we are working on that, and I know that some Spanish forms are available in Civicor. That is a great question. Okay, so these are just some forms that will be utilized when you're doing different tasks like matching, like planning an event, or entering data into Civicor. I'm not sure that the people virtually can see what the screens are, so I apologize for that, but these are some of the suggested forms that you use for your 4 different realms: making matches, planning events, and entering data into Civicor. This PowerPoint and these lists will be available on the teammates.org website after conference. If you'd like to just jot a note, come back to the session that is called the PC Build Your Own Binder, and all of these forms will be available online after conference. I think they'll be available at the beginning of next week, if I'm not mistaken. All right, I want to thank you for attending today. And again, my name is Kristen Kudna. My card is in your red folder of magicalness. And please feel free to contact me about all things related to program coordinators and also board training. Tomorrow I will be leading a board session in the afternoon, and I'm not exactly sure what room that is in, but I will be leading a board session for 1 rotation only. Thank you.